Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. You can find us on all of our social media channels at linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Today's show is all about that guy and this guy.
And it's brought to you by the letter A, as an a-hole.
Yeah. Yep. A bunch of shenanigans that went on during our
high school years,
our youth.
back in our youth, and in commemorating that moment, I am wearing what I used to wear back in high school, which was these button-down polos with the little remember those little
Button-y
things,
collars, yeah.
the button-y collars, man. I used to love these and some jeans, 501s, bro. That was my signature.
Yeah, 501s. That's
signature.
what everybody wore.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. Pre-high school, I was in. I used to go to the library and play Dungeons and Dragons. That was that day. I was that guy. Yeah. Until I became Hoser in high school.
Hoser. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get this party started.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to start our walk down memory lane from many moons ago. Gosh, how many?
Dude, I'm not. Look, man. Let's just say this: we were in high school in the late '80s. All right, just leave it at that. 80s. Don't be questioning.
Leave us alone.
Leave us alone, man. We're national treasures. All right, just leave it be.
Man, right. It's been over 35, but not 40 years. No, it's been close to 40 years. Pretty close.
It's getting there. Yeah, I've not. Could you believe it or not? I've never been to one of our reunions.
Me either.
Yeah,
We'll have to go. Maybe
with our walkers. I ain't going now.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it'll be 2030 will be our 40-year reunion.
Yeah. Oh my God. So. Me and Jay, we went to the same high school. We've known each other from grade school, from middle school, and then we went to high school. And although we were on different paths, our high school was genuine. It was just unique the way it was built. I think our whole era, our whole time there was like we were the last of, like they say, of the Mohicans being there, and how we got so much liberty there, right? But we were the last of the motley crew per se at our high school. And man, I was just thinking about doing this episode the other day, and I'm thinking, oh my God, all these things that, like, I don't know if you've been down there lately. It has totally changed, right?
Not in a while, yeah.
it's like a new place, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. But we have our memories. So anyway, I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking, man, there's like, Jay was the band guy, right? He followed that path, and all his shenanigans and band, which were way worse than I really thought. And then I had I was more on the jock side, right, where I wrestled and played football. I did track and field and stuff like that. And so, but we always, everybody knew everybody. We all hung out, and it wasn't based on race. So we talked about this a long time ago. It was based on what you did. So all the band
activities,
all the band people back then, we call them the band geeks. All the band geeks would hang out together over by the band room, right? And whatever.
It was, what did they call that? The 10 wing or whatever.
Yeah. And they all hung out there. And then, of course, the jocks and everybody else, we'd hang out in the hall right in the middle of the whole thing, because we were the center of the attention. We always wanted to be right where. Remember that? We'd sit right before the lunch area was. Between the 40 and 50.
40 and the 50? Yeah. 40 and 50 wing, yep.
So we would just sit back.
Because that was the bigger one that had like a bigger space in between.
There was benches there. They had tables that we'd all sit in those tables and just people walking by. We'd say hi to all the weird kids, all the just the different whatever. But
because you had the sports people, right?
Yeah, that was us right there.
And then you had
the politician was like the ASB president. They all hung out kind of together.
And then remember, we had our drama class was
drama club
pretty
was
good.
They were well known. We
Yeah.
had great plays, and we had a playbill
Yeah.
that was really good. So yeah, we had all the little drama kids in one section, and they were they were always playing out their roles like in the smoking section.
Oh yeah,
remember
yeah. The smoking quad.
Yeah, that quad area. So and then we had, of course, the smoking section. We had all the metalheads, and we had all the emus, or what were they back then?
We've said this before, and I always forget.
The
goths,
goth,
gothic.
So, yeah, and of course,
but you know what? They were. It was different than it is now.
Very
I would say
different,
for like
very different. Yeah,
like it was. I remember 3 of the girls. I remember their names. I'm not going to say them, but they were like super sweethearts. They were all
they
really
were
super cool.
One of them was with me in Natural Helpers. Remember the peer counselors?
Oh yeah,
I was one of them. Who would have thought? Someone came to me to talk to me about their problems. Right? I always stirred them the right way. That was until I became very dark after high school. But I was a peer counselor in the high school, and we had some of those. I forget her name, but I think you know who it is. That was in my group. And then we had the nerds, right? All the nerds would kind of hang out together. And but one thing in remembering about our high school shenanigans, we never picked on anybody. Like we just we either people watched or we talked a little bit of crap back and forth, but it was never like picking on anybody. And we had our little gangs. Remember from Penn West, from Indio Terrace, from everybody had their little Northsiders. Everybody had their little clique, but they left everybody that wasn't part of that alone.
We never had. There was no. Every once in a while, people would fight at school, but it was really rare. I mean,
it was mostly because of girls.
Girls, yeah. The guy would talking to somebody else's girlfriend.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah.
But so I remember, in my senior year, so I took every summer every year. Like before I started high school, I took summer school, and I took summer school every time. So by the time I was a senior, I had 3 required classes. Right.
I think we took a math class together for summer school at one time.
I think
not took it together. We just ended up in the same class. I don't remember though.
Bro, a long time ago. My memory lies to me sometimes.
I can't remember breakfast yesterday, man.
My memory plays tricks on me sometimes. But so as a senior, man, I remember coming in second period. I'd be coming in with a Egg McMuffin and no care in the world because I didn't have a first period class. And my second period class was home economics. Remember that class?
Oh,
that's where you teach you how to cook, how to be a housewife. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And so me and another buddy of mine who played football, all we really did is go to class, make breakfast for ourselves, put them in burritos, and then the teacher's like, you guys could go. Because, we were just there were a bunch of freshmen, and we were just going to be disruptive anyway. So, you guys could go. So we'd leave.
The two senior jocks in there with all the freshman girls oh my God.
Hey guy. Well, because we wanted a breakfast, so we had to have somewhere to cook. That was it. Plus it was a class that was fun. And then I think my fourth period class, so then that was my second period. Third period was government. I think I had to take economics or something, a required class for for college. And then my fourth period class right before lunch was counselor's aid. So I would get all my buddies out. I go there because back then they had these little stamps of each counselor. And so they'd give you a list in the beginning of the period, hey, I need to see these students. So you write them down and then you stamp them in and you go take them to the class hey, I didn't need to see these students. Well, 20 minutes before, all the ladies in there loved me. I was a charmer, bro. They loved me. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to get a couple friends out for lunch early. Is that cool? Yeah, that's fine, hon. Just not too many. No. Just, bro, I had a book that thick of those. I'd be stamping. It was half the football team, bro. We'd go out lunch early, and then we'd be gone. And then we'd take half that period and then all of the lunch period. And then we came back and it was we had athletics. So we just like you guys, when you came back, you had band practice your last period and it went into after school. We were the same way.
Yeah.
So it was, man, we got away with, I'm going to say it, man, we got away with murder in high school. You know it too. As a band member, you did the same damn thing, bro.
Well, it's funny. We would, I took Spanish class and didn't learn anything. I learned more from you and my other friends that spoke Spanish than I did in Spanish class. And I remember we had, now this was going back. This was, I think, our sophomore year, I want to say. And we had some seniors that were in there, were just blowing the class off anyways. And they were jocks, and they had somebody in the counseling office or whatever that would come get them out every day. The fact that she didn't ever get it was just crazy. They would literally leave class, go over really quick to like Del Taco or whatever the fast food place that was right on the other side. They'd bring food,
McDonald's.
and they would come back. Yeah, McDonald's. They would come back. The whole classroom, bro, would smell like fast food. And that teacher, she'd have her back to the class, and she's like writing on the chalkboard, kids, chalkboards. That's what we had back then. There was no dry erase boards, like legit green.
I remember those. Those were
and
awesome.
She's writing on it. She'd be like, "Como se dice?" And then it was a white lady, so she didn't know what she was saying, anyways. And nobody paid attention to her, and like 5 or 6 kids in the class would repeat, and you
all
say it, and
all Mexican too, because they everyone thought that was going to be the easiest class until they come out with the European Spanish. They're like, what is it?
What kind of
my daughter
Spanish
did the same thing. I'm like, you should have asked me. I told you,
and so the whole. I remember one of the days, some kid, I don't know who it was, because all of us, there was a bunch of nerds in the class, and took like the transformer out of like remember boom boxes, took one out of a boom box that stopped working. And if you touch one side to a 9-volt battery and then have somebody hold the other lead and hold hands all the way around and then touch the other side of the 9-volt battery, it'll shock everybody. And we literally had everybody in the class in a round circle holding hands. The teacher's still up there. She's still up there writing on the chalkboard.
So oblivious to what's going on behind them. But
oblivious.
But you know what? Back then we were friends with like the teachers. You remember our psychology teacher? She was like friends with everybody. Like, I don't know if, look, man. So those of you out there, remember her?
Tiger.
Yeah. So look, all you guys, this is how we did it back in our school. When we had actual driver's ed, we had simulators. You sit in a simulator and you're driving, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember those? We
was like a trailer.
And the 10-wing.
10-wing, kind of at the end, awkward.
Was that the 10-wing or was that? Yeah,
it was at the 10-wing.
Yeah, so
all the way at the very end,
that little trailer, and we used to do our driving simulation in there, and driving down the road. We had little gears and all kinds of cool. It was pretty.
It would tell you if you were pressing the brake too hard or not hard enough, because it's hard to get, like, driving a real car in a simulator. It's a big difference. It's kind of like playing.
We just messed around my whole senior year. It was funny. So I was a good kid in high school. I didn't go to parties. I didn't do any of that stuff, right? Although you would have thought, looking at me, you're like, no, this guy's a party animal. No, I never drank in high school.
I cannot say that.
I know you can't. There's a lot of things. Of both me and Jay, you probably think, man, Joe's probably the craziest one. Man. These band people,
I wasn't
out of control. Look, bro, the band's out of control. Don't even get me started. I didn't drink. I didn't drink at all when I was in high school. I was so scared of my dad, him finding out. Never. So
I didn't drink. I didn't drink in high school, but I went to parties where there was a lot of drinking going on.
I never. So
I didn't even drink when I went into college.
Really? So no, I never did. So, but one time, this was my senior year. Keep in mind, I didn't have a first period. So me and my best friend, she was a female, we went to a party. Now you remember her. You remember she was my grand night date.
Oh yeah. I told you.
That was my best friend, bro. You know what I mean? She beat me up. Anyway, we went to a party. We get busted at that party. Both her and I did not have a class, and we still got suspended for 3 days for it. And like my dad, bro, my dad's gonna whoop my ass thinking I was drinking, and they're like, no, he wasn't drinking. I'm like, I should have drank. If I get suspended for 3 days, I should have might as well just drank and enjoyed it. But just because we were at the party during school hours, bro, I was like, that's where it started for me. The liberal politics started for me. I'm like, wait a minute. I wasn't even, but you were there during school hours. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a class. I'm like, so if like I'm at home and my mom beats me during school hours, what, is there repercussions for her?
I think I remember that party when that happened.
Yeah.
It
was by Jackson Park. Right behind.
Okay, this
behind,
one I
right
think was
behind,
closer to the school.
Okay, because this was right behind our middle school that we went to, or the one that you went to for your last year. It was behind there, and I'm like, how do I get in trouble in a party where I'm not even in? Anyway, that was like crazy. And but during high school, never partied, never did anything. But the weirdest things always happened to me. Like, so one of my buddies, we were driving in front of the school, well, by the parking lot. And he had this small little truck, little blue truck. I remember, little Datsun. Remember the Datsuns? Little back then mini trucks were a big thing, right? The little mini trucks riding low. So he had his stereo in his glove box. That's how ghetto we were, right? So I'm putting in back. I know you.
Those weren't even face off or pull outs back then.
It was just that's where it fit. It was just that's where it fit. And I go in there to change my mixtape because you had mixtapes back then. Remember the mixtapes? Right?
Yes, I do.
The whole side A mixtape, and then you have a side B. So anyway, I'm in there flipping the cassette to side B. So I'm like this. I'm like hunched over in his glove box, changing it. We get pulled over, bro. They thought we were doing like cocaine or something. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, how has this things happened to me? I'm not like, I don't do any of this stuff, and I'm getting stopped. And, we're getting stopped for stupid things. They're like, well, I saw you in the glove box, and I'm like, yeah, there's a stereo in there. I had to change the cassette. We had some snow in there. Informer, but remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
That dude, the original white boy rapper.
Oh god.
But anyway,
yeah,
we
that's funny.
There was some crazy stuff in high school, man. That I wasn't even part of, but I still got in trouble for. But I'm like, out of all my years, my senior year, I'm getting in trouble for all these things. I don't know.
That is funny. Yeah, I got pulled over once our senior year. I was in.
You were speeding, I'm sure, in your car.
Again, no.
Oh,
no. I was going down. I'm trying to think of what street that was. Jackson Street, and
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
Yeah, I didn't have my lights on, and it was kind of dusky, outside.
Dusted on, bro.
I got the cherries and berries on behind me, and that was our senior year, so I had started growing my hair, and it was kind of had long hair, so I was hippie-ish. And the cop pulled me. Do you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, I actually have no idea. He goes, you didn't have your lights on. I'm like, oh, okay. He said, that's pretty typical of somebody that's drunk. You need to step out. And he did the whole
field
sobriety on me, and I'm at the back of the car. And I'm trying to think of who it was. And it was a couple of girls that we went to school with. Anyways, they're driving by the car when I'm doing that, and they're like, hey, what are you doing? Because they knew my car, because I had that Camaro, that 67 Camaro. Man, I sure wish I still had that thing. Man. But yeah, that's the only time I ever had any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, as far as the partying stuff, man, because there were so many people in band, I mean, we had, between color guard and drumline and band and everybody else, we probably had, I don't know, 140 students, something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of you fools. I remember when you guys would take the field and you took up like the entire field to perform.
Yeah.
With the flags and the rifles and all that stuff. And I'm like,
it was
a big band. And I remember your guys' I don't know what you call him, but he's sitting up on that thing in the top and directing you guys.
Oh yeah.
What was his
drum
name?
major?
Yeah. All I know is that our band was pretty badass, and we got a lot of awards. And you guys traveled a lot, didn't you? You guys,
we did.
Disneyland,
we went to Hawaii,
and you guys went to a lot of places.
We went to Disneyland twice a year. We went to Hawaii, and then we went all over the country. So there was like 3 different. So I was in. I had like 4 band classes our senior year. So I had jazz band, I had like symphonic band or whatever, and then marching band. And then I was a teacher's aide for the
Of course you were.
teacher.
Of course you were.
So the whole class period before band or whatever, and it was right after lunch. So he's like, "Oh, I don't care. You can come back, from lunch late." Because by that time, our senior year, you and I, we had summer school every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I only needed, gosh,
We didn't need
to
that
say
many credits.
Government.
Yeah, it was a required classes. It was, I think,
English and maybe math.
English. Yeah, it was math, English, and government.
Math, English, and government.
That was the
just
only
those
classes
three classes.
Yeah,
and I had, man, that was my favorite. One of my favorite teachers was our senior year, my English teacher, because they had what they call honors English,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was really, really cool. It was not an
I didn't go
easy
that
class.
far. I think I had
was,
CP.
college prep.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think they call it that anymore. They have another name for it.
I think Genius Kids. I think it is. But
yeah,
yeah,
no, I think that they
what do they call it?
They dropped CP. I don't know. There's another word for it. You have to
Dum-dums?
ask the kids. Dum-dums, yeah.
No, I remember though. When I was in high school, I was part of the Indio Police Explorer program, and it's basically like that Boy Scouts, but it's for law enforcement. And So I
do a ride along and stuff.
I do ride-alongs, and you do all kinds of stuff. We had like our own police car, like Explorer car, and it was a hot rod, and we'd take it to the county fair every year. So that was like my brothers were explorers, and I'm thinking, man, I want to do it, but there was perks to being that. One, if someone stopped you, you probably knew them because you were at the police station all the time, so everybody knew you. Two, you get free into the fair, and the fair's a big thing, right? So I used to get it free all the time. I'm an explorer. I come here because I'm, we're gonna patrol. Oh, okay, come on in. And so dude, there was perks to everything. We get to see the parade, and we get to go in after the parade. Remember that big old parade we had?
Yeah, that's when we get in free.
Yeah, you guys get in free because you're part of the marching band. And but yeah, I used to get, man, that was my get out of jail card right there as an explorer. And I just tried not to go to Coachella because my uncle was the chief of police there, and I probably would have gotten beat if I was breaking any laws. But in India, hands off, baby. But yeah, I used to, dude, I remember like who. I can't remember his name. Maybe I do, but I just want to say I can't remember. But I would go like I never smoked in high school. Like I said, I never drank, never did anything. But you'd go to the.
I didn't smoke it. I never liked smoking.
You go to the quad where everybody else was smoking, and because you're trying to find somebody to talk to about certain whatever it is because within each group. You still have the smokers, right? Like, so jocks, they still had dudes that were smoking.
Right.
So you'd go over there like, hey, dude, don't forget we got practice today or whatever the case is. And you're in that group, and then next thing you know, you're just talking to everybody. Because you know how everybody talked to everybody. And, dude, I used to just try to date from every group. I was just trying to, I'm just trying to play the field, trying to get a feel of what kind of person I like, what I didn't like, so I did them all. Like the smokers, the metalheads, the drama kids, the band, and everybody. The freakiest ones were probably the bands. They were the freakiest ones. I wonder why. I wonder why.
Well, you were talking about like the metalheads. That was all the people that. So there was different little fast food restaurants. So one of the things we got to say is that our campus. The year we graduated, the very next year, they closed partial campus closure, and then I think by next 2 years that was it. It was completely done.
Let me ask you
nobody because I think they allowed the juniors and seniors that next year to go off campus, or something like that, and then they just shut it down.
Do you remember? Because we used to go buy burgers there before the football games when we go on road trips. Do you remember how much they were? 35-cent cheeseburgers. You remember that?
No.
They were cheap. And we used to buy bags full and take them on the bus. And we'd just be tossing burgers. Everybody eating. Everybody getting bulked up, getting all gordos, throwing up right before the game. You know what I mean? But, dude, they were very cheap. I remember, man. And then Del Taco right next to it. Dude, that was like our go-to places. And then there was something
because you could walk down because the McDonald's was on the corner, and then Del Taco was like, you jumped a wall and it was right there.
Yeah.
And then across the street, was it Wendy's or
Oh, I don't
Shakey's
remember.
was over there. I want to
Shakey's
say. No,
Pizza.
Round Table.
Round Table Pizza.
Round Table Pizza.
Yeah. And then it had some. It was. Yeah, I remember those places. And then they had the 7-Eleven. Remember 7-Eleven where everybody hung out.
Yeah.
On the weekends.
Yes, but if you went the back way where the band room was at,
Carl's
and
Jr.
the drama was Carl's Jr.'s, and that's where all the stoners and the metalheads hung out.
And Sizzler.
That's where and Sizzler. Yeah. That's I was always at the Carl's Jr.'s hanging out with everybody.
There was Taco Bell.
Yeah, that was across the street. Yep.
And remember, remember, I know you're gonna remember this. Do you remember the grocery store, Alpha Beta?
Alpha Beta. Yeah,
remember?
Sure do. Yeah, that's a long time ago,
dude. That's crazy.
Because so that Alpha Beta has since obviously closed because they didn't exist anymore. I don't think they never turned it into a different. They just closed the building. Was it Avon's for a little while?
Yeah, it was Avon's.
And then they closed it down, and then they demolished it, and then that land sat empty for a little while, and then they put trailers on there, and that became the school's actual classrooms while they were remodeling their building, school,
the Indio High.
Yeah. So I don't know what's there now. I don't know if that's part of the high school grounds again, or
it might be a parking lot. I don't know. I haven't been there forever, bro.
I haven't been there in a long time.
Man,
either.
I'm like,
it doesn't look like we're going back anytime soon either. So.
No, I'm good. But I remember there was like
high school reunion. You don't want to go?
No, I'm good, bro. You know what? Sitting there, people reminiscing, and like, I'm not you know what I mean? I wasn't that, like, don't get me wrong. My high school years were great. We had a good time. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like you're over that. You're like, right. You have all these people from high school in your social media, but you don't really connect. You know, you're not. It's just people you went to school with.
I totally
you know what I mean? So I'm not like you're the only person that I talked to from high school. You know, that's it. And other than that, I don't talk to nobody from high school, bro. I don't like reconnect or like, hey, what's up? Like, and we were like, I had best friends in high school too. And I'd like now they're like, hey, what's up? You know, maybe maybe I'll get a happy birthday on my birthday because, you know, social media blasts that everybody your birthday all the time. But other than that, nah, I'm like, I just never saw the point of going back to high school reunion. I was too busy with life to go back and like spend the day at you know. And I applaud all those class presidents and treasurers and stuff that put these things together because I know it's a lot of work, but I just had no interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they would have had it in like a cool place, I'd probably go. You know, bring back some Stevie B. You know, maybe I'll go over there and listen. I don't know, but high school was, like I said, was pretty crazy, man. I think I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I guess the stuff that you did, you know, you met a lot of different people. You did a lot of different stuff. The sports were great. Going to different places, play sports. We went to this place called Rim of the World, and to go.
Oh, that was up in Arrowhead.
Yeah, to go play football, and these guys were like these little elves that we played, and we're thinking we're gonna kill these little gnomes, right? They beat the crap out of us, bro.
Really?
Well, the elevation, you know how high it is up there, right? So the elevation was...
Oh, yeah, you can't breathe.
We couldn't breathe, bro. In the grass, it was like a swamp. So we'd go to set, and we're sinking into... And these guys were just off the ball. Boom, boom. Before you knew it, I'm on the ground. I'm like, what just happened? You know what I mean? These little garden gnomes are killing us. And it just... do you remember our rival? Remember Spirit Week?
CV?
Yeah, but do you remember Spirit Week when they used to bring in the cars and we used to destroy them with sledgehammers?
Oh, yeah.
And then we'd have hanging football players down the halls from the opposing team. Do you remember that stuff?
Dude, do you remember some of the weird like senior prank stuff that happened every year? It was only 4 years, right, that we were there, obviously. It's high school.
You were there 4 years? I spent 6 years in high school. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on.
But you remember somebody had put tires over the flagpole, So they literally got to the top of the flagpole, dropped them all the way down. So the poor,
Had to cut him.
I can't remember his name, the janitor, the poor guy. He's out there sitting there cutting each tire, you know.
We literally moved a teacher's car and parked it like, remember that little ramp that goes up into the football field on the visitor side? It was a Volkswagen. We lifted that car and walked it.
I remember that. There was somebody, I can't remember who it was, and they moved it off of the off the street part and put it up on the lawn.
Yeah.
And the sprinklers came on, because the sprinklers came on at the same time every day. It would just like wet his car all up. There was another one. Somebody had stolen a couple of the goats out of the, what is it, FFA?
Yeah, Future Farmers of America.
FFA.
Yeah.
And they put them, how there was like those I don't know, awnings or whatever, over the fronts of the classrooms and then down the walkways.
Yeah.
They put the goats up there.
Shut up. I don't remember that.
They're like up there.
Because that
they
was
couldn't
10.
get down.
That was 10.
They couldn't get down.
That was so funny, bro.
They couldn't get down. And then there was another one. Somebody put, they went on the drama, up on the drama building.
Yeah.
Because it had that real tall section, where they would drop all the stuff down. But on the outside, it was really tall. I have no clue, because I was actually in what was called stage production, I think my freshman year. And I went everywhere in that place. Like, we had to go up to the very top so you could change lights, because back then light bulbs burn out all the time because they were only incandescent. There was no fluorescent or definitely no LED lights back then. And somebody got on the outside and they draped this gigantic banner, and it was written with like shoe polish or whatever, but it said "for sale," and it had the high school's phone number.
Jesus. That's so funny. I'm neither gonna confirm or deny that I've been behind that stage a couple of times.
Yeah.
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 And not while in drama. I never did drama.
You were never in drama,
bro. Every door was open in our school.
Yeah.
Like, you could walk into any class and you could just go back and hide somewhere in the stage somewhere. You know what I mean? I did that back in Jefferson.
It's so funny that because they brought people into that drama place, because the guy that was heading that up, he was really known in the Valley and everything. We were really lucky at that school to have people that were of such a high caliber. Like the guy that did so you were talking about the band and our field shows and stuff. Mm-hmm. If it had just been like the band director and everything, it probably would have been garbage. But the guy that did that was in charge of the color guard, and he did like winter guard stuff.
Oh yeah.
And our winter guard won every year, and if they didn't win, they were in second place.
Yeah.
There was first place, and then there was what was called sweepstakes. It was like, the big trophy or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he was the one that designed all of our field. Yeah, first place was second place, right? So, and he designed all of our field shows. Well, he was the guy that designed the field show for the closing ceremonies of the 1984 Olympics.
Dude, we had great. I mean, it was funny because our town was a small town, but yet we had because we had a professional football player that came from our high school too. Remember, the field was named after him.
Mr. White. Yep.
Mr. White. And so there was a lot of we had golf, guys, believe it or not. Our golf team was really good.
Yeah. Tennis.
Our tennis was really good. Yeah, we also had water polo guys. That's that kind of school. Okay. We acted rich, but we weren't, right? But that's just,
right. That was down the road quite a ways where the Richie Rich kids were at.
Yeah.
We were at the POW school.
Yeah.
Our pool was a bathtub.
Yeah. It was, but our high school, we had, I think, the biggest pride in the Valley of all the high schools in the Valley. We had the biggest pride. And remember how devastating it was when they opened up that new high school and half our people left? This was I think we were juniors or something, or I don't know what. And they left to LQ. Yeah. Do you remember that? I'm like, what the hell? We had all these great football players gone, all gone. I'm like, the boundaries. I'm like, they made the boundaries like really close to our town. I'm like, really, really, that wasn't planned whatsoever, But
now that area's got so many high schools because when we were in high school, they had just
my daughter
opened
went to that new high school that was in Northside.
Yeah, they had just opened one of the high schools. I want to say either our freshman or sophomore year.
Was it the LQ one?
No, it was PD.
Oh, okay.
They had just opened that, so you had.
Yeah, because it was only PA. It was only Palm Springs. That was
Palm Springs, us, and CV.
Yeah,
that was it.
That's it.
That was the only schools. Actually, I take it back. In Cat City.
Oh, no one really cared.
Yeah,
about Cat City.
Nobody cared about that.
I'm sorry,
school.
Cathedral City. No one really cared about.
There's 70 kids in school or whatever. Yeah. But now, man, there's like 20 high schools there now.
Well, the population has also exploded since you and I were there. And but we had, I don't know, like we had some of the best teachers, we had some of the best programs, we had some, like our drama was like top notch, bro. Like our drama was top notch, and I'm like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, they named that actual the drama room after the Bayshore, after him.
Oh, really?
I don't remember his first name. His last name was Bayshore.
Brandon?
Yeah, there's a Bayshore auditorium. Oh no, not the guy that passed away.
Who's
the
Bayshore?
Actual teacher.
Oh, the one teacher that did the class. Yeah, that was. We had a great program. Like I went to several of those plays. They were well
really
put together, man. I'm like, man,
did so. Our freshman year, I helped build the one because that was stage production. Yeah. That's what you did. You built the sets, and we built this one where it was a round platform, and we used these big eye bolts in the middle, and then we drilled down into the stage and put this big pin in the middle of the stage, and so the whole thing would rotate around perfectly 360. And we set the stages the sets were like a pie cut. Right?
Oh yeah.
So as you moved it past there, then it was another like a big lazy Susan. Yep. And so two of the sets were quick change sets. One was like the outside of the building, like and we did like siding, on the outside of a house. Yeah. It was just pieces of styrofoam and stuff. It was really cool to learn all that stuff because it was kind of movie-esque, was really what it was.
It was really good, man.
But when you move it around, we were on the back side, like changing stuff out really quick. And then when it moved back around, even though we had already shown that set, it looked different, and then they'd be fixing the other set, doing stuff on it while they're, But the thing is, you had to be quiet because you couldn't hear like, in the back while they're trying to act in the front. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
There was a lot of crazy stuff happening. I mean, like I had so much pride in our school, but it was like,
and our colors were the best colors.
Red, white, blue, baby.
School. Red, white, and blue.
I remember going down to Yellow Mart and buying all kinds of IHS stuff.
Yellow Mart.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You remember Yellow Mart?
Heck yeah.
So
that's where everybody got their
Letterman
clothes
jackets.
They
got their Letterman jackets. They got their ASB pack there for sports. Remember the ASB packet? You had to buy the ASB card that was like $10, and then you had to go buy the gym set, your shorts and your t-shirts. That said the school.
Yeah, that's
remember?
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah,
it was all Yellow Mart.
I remember because you bought the shorts that were the really high shorts.
The short shorts,
you wanted those. Yeah.
Yep. I can't wear those now because
Dove shorts.
I can't wear those now because things will be hanging out. You know what I mean? Because old age, gravity, and whatnot does this thing. But yeah, I used to love those. And then the high socks came up to my knees.
High socks with the two stripes on them.
The
colored stripes.
Yeah.
The tube socks with colored stripes.
But I remember we used to go over there, and that's where we bought
baseball shirts.
Baseball shirt. Remember the duffel bags with our school colors on it?
Yeah.
We were everybody. We were so prideful back in that day for that school.
Yeah, we were.
It was Yellow Mart also sold weapons of mass destruction. Do you remember that?
They did. Yeah.
We're like, kids over there for all your high school stuff. Hunters over there. It's like in the same building. I'm like,
you go get your PE clothes in a 45.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
Not a record.
And that's where everybody got their Letterman's jacket. So when you get lettered for whatever, whether it was band or drama or academics or sports, everybody got their stuff there. And remember we had people had the zippered one with the hoodie it became a hoodie, and then people just
I think that was the girls' one.
Yeah. and then you had but they had different styles. It was pretty cool.
It did, yeah.
Those
I still
are
have mine
expensive.
locked away in a closet somewhere.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the leather's getting all crusty on the arm, so it's
Think about it. If our skin is getting crusty, I'm sure that leather is too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and I moisturize this. I don't moisturize that.
Oh, do you moisturize?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there was
got to once in a while.
But yeah, I remember, man, there was just so many I don't know. I loved our school, but it was funny, man. After school, when we all graduated, it was like, so for example, when we went to Grand Night, when everybody goes to get Disney in California, you go to Disneyland. All the high schools go to Disneyland. They close the park early, and it's just high school people going there, and they have the bands of that time are playing in live stages all throughout the park. So we went to go see like
Videopolis.
Yeah. So we had Stevie B. What was that other one? Stevie B. I don't know. There was a bunch of bands back in the day, and of course every shop in Disneyland is wiped out with like the Mickeys and stuff like that, and all they have is like Mickey, the Minnies in your cap and gowns. So they have cap and gown stuff everywhere in all the stores. They have all kinds of cool little memorabilia that all the kids would buy. You'd walk out of there broke as hell, right? Your parents, you'd come out there with like all these bags of gifts and things like that. Little tassels. Remember the tassels?
Oh yeah,
because like your schools, they had your school tassels there, and so it was really cool. And I remember coming back on the buses from that, tired as heck. Right, everyone's tired. You get there, you put all your stuff in your car, and you leave. And it's a sad day because everybody's already gotten their diplomas. Everybody's already did their ceremony. Grand Night's done. Grand Night's kind of like closes everything. It's like the closing ceremonies of the Olympics. It's like it's all sad. And I remember I was sad for like a moment. And I think in the background, just picture this, right? You're coming back. It's a very sad moment. Your school years are over, and you have Bananarama, Cruel Summer played in the background, right? Very sad, very
Cruel Summer,
right? You're just
don't
tears,
make us sing. Okay?
A tear is coming down the side of your cheek, right? And then like you wake up the next day, you're like, I'm done. Like you're not even sweating it. Like you're like, thank God that experience is over. And like for most of us that didn't go to college, our real life began, right? Because then I clearly met somebody. I got, she became my baby mama. She gave me 3 beautiful kids, and so I had to work. I couldn't go to school, but it was a scam anyway. You know what I mean? I'm doing good now, and I didn't go to school. So I went to my high school. That's about it. But it is what it is, brother. I do miss just some of those things. I wish that back then I would have hung out more. But again, what we did dictated who we hung out with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We always say hi in passing. It was always like, "What's up?"
Oh yeah,
all the time in the field.
Yeah.
We'd be seeing each other, be in the sidelines, and we're like, "Everybody get the fuck off." Every time to go, but it was good times. I remember we had some good times.
I remember specifically a time that we were chit chatting because where the cheerleaders were on our side towards the stand, and you had come around the side or something, and there was a couple other guys, I don't remember who it was, but we had what we called third quarter band, and we would get on the down on the field with the cheerleaders, and we would do like
those quick little shows,
Louie and stuff. Yeah. Quick little stuff. Those. And you were right there, and you and a couple of the other guys were dancing there too, and it was pretty funny, man. We had a lot of fun. When it really hit me was exactly a year later.
Really?
So I didn't live. Well, you knew where I lived. It wasn't horribly far from the high school, but it was pretty. It was probably as far as north as you could get from the high school. And I remember I was in college and I was there that whatever day it was or the weekend or whatever it was. And I'm washing my car and, because we had to keep our cars all clean and waxed and everything.
That was the thing.
So I'm cleaning my car and I hear in the distance, this. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the fireworks at the high school. That's last year's class graduating. So it had been a year.
Oh, wow.
And that was the last time that it really hit me. I'm like, dang, we spent 4 years And this 1 year has just like flown by. And of course, it just keeps flying by faster and faster. And, my thing to that, and I've always said that, when you're in high school, those 4 years seem like they last a long time, right?
Yeah.
But, you figure you graduate when you're 18 years old, right? So, if you divide 18 by 4, that's four and a half, right? So almost a quarter of your entire life is spent in high school from what you've
Right.
experienced so far. Especially, you take year 1 and 2, you don't really remember a whole lot of what's going on. So a quarter of your entire known existence is spent in, in high school, So now if you think about just generally 4 years, 4 years goes by really pretty quick, So, but we have so much more life behind us now that 4 years doesn't seem like much. It's a lot less than a quarter of our life at this point.
So you remember when I bought my first house? It was right by the high school, right?
Yeah.
And that was my first house that we bought. And I think there was times I remember, and
I was over there a lot.
Yeah, we used to drink a lot too.
Some boxing matches.
Oh man, we used to love boxing all the time. Remember? So I remember. Like I
had
did
those special boxes to get the boxing.
The ones that you distributed?
That what?
Anyway, the I didn't miss, like I said, I never missed really high school because it was great, had our moments, move on, right? But I would remember I'd be outside cutting the yard in the afternoon because it's cooled down a little bit or whatever, and then all of a sudden you hear in the background, the band going. And you hear those old things, defense, attack, the band's going in the background, right. And you're like thinking, I remember my glory days. Yeah. Remember those? Yeah. It was like those tunes were stuck in your head all the time. So I would sit there.
And all these years later, you still remember it.
Yeah. So I'll get my kids out there because they're a little munchy. You remember the little boys. And they'd come out and we'd just be sitting out there. I'm watering the lawn. At this point, I'm already done. And I just have them hearing the music out there because it was so close and it was so loud. And you can hear the cheers. And you're thinking like, man, I remember when I was on that field and I was hearing those cheers, And then I'm sure if you would have been there, you're like, man, I remember being on those stands. Playing in the band.
I remember the last time because I was, you remember who I dated. Yeah. So it was our senior year. I was dating her. She was a freshman. So she spent another couple of years there, a couple of years before she left. And so I went back to watch the band and Color Guard or whatever do their thing on the field. And I was so again, our senior year, everything changed because they started locking down. And then the band director that we had my senior year left. I think the Color Guard director, he only stayed another 2 or 3 years and then he left. So yeah, everything started going downhill. Well, they stopped using uniforms for the band. Like we had
you guys were uniforms, on point. Like your pants were legit. Your headgear was. I'm like, damn. Yeah, that thing's like 20 pounds.
Everything was crazy. The last time I saw them, they were in shorts and polo shirts. That's how they went out on the field. No I'm not even kidding you, dude.
Dude, I remember.
I was like, that's so disappointing, man.
I remember how you guys were sweating like fucking pigs out there because it's so hot.
Yeah.
And you guys had your full uniform with the little vests and the little jackets.
Yeah.
And then
they were actually wool uniforms, and then they would last.
And then the hats were tall, right?
It had like a spike on the top, and then it had a red feather, plumes. I remember the feather.
I remember the feather.
So the hat was gloss white. Our shoes were gloss white, and we had gloss white or just white gloves.
Yeah, you guys look sharp.
The uniform was blue with red and white sashes and stuff. So it was all red, white, and blue.
It was on point.
It looked really good.
Yeah,
we always got big
accolades for
big points for our uniform.
Well, you guys were always on point, man. I remember our football uniforms, red, white, and blue, baby. That's the best colors to have in high school.
It was.
You know what I mean?
It was awesome.
It reminds me of those. Reminds me of the firecracker popsicles too. I used to love those things.
I felt bad for the teams that had to wear colors like yellow and green and stuff. So I don't know.
Sounds familiar. Sounds like a CV thing.
I don't know who that was. But...
Horrible. They were like a mustard yellow or something. It was some weird yellow.
It was like, really.
And that green, I'm like, ugh. right?
Yeah, like who picked those colors,
And
man?
then
That was terrible
and
colors.
then La Quinta came in with her bad colors or dark black. I'm like, oh, I hate this school now. I
with
really,
the burgundy,
yeah, I hated them. I'm like,
black
damn,
and
they look
burgundy.
good. They look good. Damn it. But I would never give up my red, white, and blue colors of our high school.
Oh no,
You know
we
what I
had
mean?
the best colors, man.
Nah, that's good times, man. I'm glad.
Good times,
I'm glad
good
I had those
times.
moments, man. I'm glad we shared that.
Yep.
It was pretty good. Yeah. And guys,
What?
I know I said I was going to give out secrets. I'm not doing that. Family watches this, and I don't want.
Yeah.
They will not know.
maybe some other episode.
Maybe another episode. Maybe
when
one day
when
we'll
we're
drink.
doing this,
We'll drink one day on one of our podcasts, and then maybe the truth will come out then.
we'll do it when we are broadcasting from the nursing home. That's when we'll give away all the secrets.
Right in our deathbed, we're going to confess to it.
Yeah. When they're giving us our last bit of Joe Biden medication right before it just
We'll be
all right, Joe.
it'll be like Hangover when they're looking at the pictures in the camera at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
God,
yeah. That's what happened.
That's gonna be.
We totally forgot. Yeah, and that's exactly what high school is like. So, well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us and going down our little road trip through our high school years.
Down memory lane.
Yeah, late 80s. We actually graduated in 1990s. So, crazy. All right. Well, we have new episodes pop up every Tuesday. So if you'd like to join us, come back here next Tuesday. You can see all of our social media channels and all that at linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. And yeah, that's about it. So remember, everybody, be good to one another.
Do better, be better.
And as always,
God bless America. We'll see ya.
See ya.